actually it's the lead play in our offense.
We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet to get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here. Try to run this play in the alley.
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside Emilio live in Tennessee. We got Tim live in Green Bay. We'll go ahead and flip those around there. I feel out of whack there. You know what I'm saying?
We tried it that one night and threw it all off.
Oh, yeah, dude, it's crazy. Boys, today was absolutely awesome. 75 degrees, had the doors open, the windows open. We were grilling burgers, may have had a daddy soda or two, bro. Cleaned out the creek bank, drug some old logs out of the creek bank, got to cut it up for firewood. Man, what a day. Emilio, the weather was beautiful, wasn't it, man?
Man, I caught a sweat today, that's for sure. I was working on the maintenance property. Yeah, I had to mow today. It was there was a lot going on, man. It was gorgeous out, though, for sure.
Definitely. Tim, what's it like up there in the Bay, man? Is it cold or what? What you got up there?
No, it's beautiful. It's like it was 50, today. We had like 50 degrees, a little bit of rain, It's beautiful, man. It's like great for March, early March, no snow.
We'll take it, right?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Yeah. It's funny, people were asking about the whole he can block thing. I pulled the clip. All right, we've got the original clip. It's going to be blurry. You could tell the broadcast was bad quality, but this was after a devastating. I can't even remember what loss it was, but it was a horrible loss. And this was the low point of the season. And you hear me reading super chats, right? Tim, I want you to key in on Tim and how pissed off this man is.
It is great.
And then Emilio just trying to pick up the spirits. But here we go. Again, Togro, thank you for the super chat. Josh Martin with the super chat says, outside of running fast, what does Watson do well? He can't high point the ball, doesn't fight for the ball, drops the ball, gets hurt a lot.
He can block. He's been blocking well this year.
Emilio said he can block.
You call me anything you want, but don't call me that.
All right. I can't imagine a receiver wants to be called a good blocker and not good at anything else.
No, man.
Man, I'm telling you, Tim
didn't move that entire until we got the mullet on the screen. Tim didn't move.
That's what sent it over the edge for sure. Broke the ice, but man, I will never forget that. It broke me up because I'm reading that comment and I'm like, it's a super chat. We got to read it, right?
Yeah.
It's not anything derogatory. And
I think that was after the Denver game.
Oh, I was going to say Pittsburgh because I thought the
one of
stands
those,
were yellow, but
it makes all the sense in the world. Now, Boz says Tim ain't having it. He sure was.
Tim was not having it.
I love it, man. Great moment in PTA history right there for sure. Just want to take a second, though, and give a special shout out and thank you to Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. Guys, they're Wisconsin-based since 1992, specializing in Packer tickets. Wisconsin's largest ticket source. They've got offices next to Lambeau Field as well as in Milwaukee. You can click on the link in the description of this video. That will send you directly to their website, www.theticketking.com. Go on there, register as a customer. It's free, and go ahead and get yourself in a position to land some really good prices on Packer tickets this coming season. The schedule is going to be releasing in May. They're going to get ahead of the ball. I mean, the second those tickets become available, they're going to be your ultimate Packer ticket source, and they do a real good job of matching and beating prices from some of those national competitors. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packers Total Access Live. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. We obviously just came out of the combine, guys. We're about combined out, to be honest with you. We've covered it from every angle. We've talked about how people tie their shoes. We've talked about, we've covered it all. So we're going to try to step into a little bit of free agency. Before we do, just want to kind of set the tone as we get ready for college pro days, because there's a bunch of information that still needs to be filled in, right? You've got people, there's multiple guys. Now, I don't have my live board up, but if I were to pull my board up, you can see in that I column there, right? The I column is the RAS column. And I've filled some of those in today, but for the most part, there's still several that are voided there. So we got to get that information into the system to complete the draft board. So those pro days that are coming up, obviously are going to be huge. These, to the best of my knowledge, are all that's been scheduled right now. I think this was 3 days ago that this was posted, and I didn't see an update yet. So keep an eye out for the rest of them. But as far as your pro days for some of these college teams, Northwestern Universities is on March 6th. Purdue is on March 7th. Oregon, March 12th. Georgia on the 13th. Iowa on the 18th. Army on the 19th. Right, that Iowa is important because we're going to see if Cooper DeJean can do something. Right, we'll see how that plays out. Alabama and USC competing there on the same day on the 20th. You got Notre Dame, those Fighting Irish, on the 21st. You got Michigan on the 22nd. LSU and Ole Miss on the 27th, and then the 27th through the 30th, the Big 12 Pro Day. So they're going to be doing theirs together, if I understood correctly. That's kind of cool. I like that concept, almost like another combine, but just for the Big 12. And then you got Maryland on the 29th of March. So just keep in mind that stuff is coming up here real soon. And with that being said, why don't we kind of wrap up the combine with this part 2, quick little interview with Brian Gutekunst. We'll get your all's reaction, Tim and Emilio. This was Brian Gutekunst sitting down with Larry McCarron. Just pay no attention to the pinky. Tim, all right, we'll keep it together. Jacob ain't in here tonight, right? So we're probably good. I'm sure he's out on a date this evening. You know how that goes. Anyway, this is part 2 of that little mini interview. It's cool to try to gain a little insight as to what Goody's thinking. And sometimes he tips his hands. Most of the time he doesn't, but here we go.
The addition of Jeff Hafley as defensive coordinator, first impressions.
Really like his leadership style, his energy. Really excited to get to know him more and kind of see what his vision for our defense is. I think he's going to be a welcome addition, and excited about where he can take our roster. A lot of work to do. There's a lot of him getting to know our players and what they do well, and then obviously, again, talking about the competition in every room and making sure our team, we have the depth that we're going to need to have to get through 2024, but excited what he's going to bring to the table.
Over the years, you've invested a lot in your defense. What do you want to see out of that unit? What play style would you like to see?
Yeah, I think that Matt and I, one of the things we talk about is the play style, right? We want an aggressive effort, physical defense that is consistent that way, that it doesn't ride waves, that you can kind of count on something that's week in and week out. And that's tough at this league because there's some really good teams out there, and it's tough to stay consistent over the course of the season. But the play style and what we look like on tape, more so than schematics, I think is what I want to see. This week at the Combine is a very important part for us to see, what is out there, and do we feel these guys can come in and play right away as rookies. And then as our defensive staff gets together and continues to work through their process of getting to know our team, and particularly the free agent class, we'll kind of look to see how we're going to piece that together. But there's great opportunity there. We have some young players we're excited about coming back. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out.
Do you expect to be a player, an active player in the free agency market?
I do, and I think we are every year. There's good players in this free agency class. Certainly we're going to be in the mix in some of those things. Part of coming through the Combine is finding out some of that stuff, not only with the free agent class, but also the draft class, and looking at it kind of holistically and saying, okay, what is the best route for the Green Bay Packers?
How does the free agent market and this draft class match up with where on your team you're anticipating needing help? How does it match up?
Yeah, I think pretty solidly, and again, we're in the beginning stages, but I think pretty solidly. I think for me, it's just really about trying to find the best overall football players. Certainly, there's only so many difference makers in the National Football League, so if you have a chance to acquire a difference maker, regardless of position, you're going to be, in that market. To me, it's more about what kind of quality players and people can we bring to our locker room to create the healthy competition we need for our team to move forward.
Several times during our conversation, you've mentioned the word competition. And isn't it amazing? Good old-fashioned competition, wanting to be the guy that is the guy, that still matters and matters a bunch.
Yeah, and I think it's, whatever level of sport you're playing at, particularly a team sport, When there's healthy competition, guys get better. It's just human nature. When you know you have to be at your best to hold your spot and accomplish what you want to accomplish, having a guy next to you that can be at your level and compete with you always will push you further than you can push yourself at times. And I think that's the healthiest way to build a team. We saw it this year. I think as the year went on, it was a really good, healthy competition with our football team, and I think it accelerated our growth, and that's what we're going to try to accomplish this year as well.
On the outside, expectations are sky high, like Super Bowl sky high for the Green Bay Packers. To those expectations, you say what?
I think they're external. Inside the building, that's kind of always the expectation. And I think you got to be careful of allowing that to set the tone or limit you in any way. To me, it's really got to be focused on the process of getting better each and every day, each and every week. Each unit getting better together as a team. I think hopefully that if there's anything that came out of 2023 for our team that carries over, it's that don't ride the ups and downs, just focus on getting better, and the results will come. And again, playing your best football at the end of the year is what's most important. And our team, I think, did that. And hopefully some of those lessons will carry over, but every year is a new year, and if they don't put the time in, if they're not willing to sacrifice, that won't happen. So I think that's what you have to focus on, not the external expectations.
Took it down.
Exactly. Hey, I love the interview there, man. Larry McCarron does such a good job, dude. Yeah, love it. Again, you can check that out on Packers.com. You can see it on their Twitter page, too. Go share it, like it, all that good stuff. Salute the pinky. You know what I'm saying? That pinky right there, hey, laid it all on the line for us Packers. No doubt about it.
I could tell stories for sure.
Exactly. What'd you guys think about what he said there? Talking about complimentary football. I love what he said at the end. Saying, hey, don't ride the ups and downs. Just focus on getting better. In the business world, it's don't focus on the results. Don't look at the results. Don't look at the paycheck. You've got your task at hand. Be an entrepreneur. Try to forecast what's going to happen. The difference between a good entrepreneur and a bad one is a good one is able to see problems before they happen and have a game plan put together for when they happen. Same thing here, man. When you talk about the players, don't focus on the results. Just focus on getting better every single day. Be a little bit better version of yourself. But I'm excited, Tim. I'm excited to see what this defense can do with a new look, man. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we saw Aaron Jones pick up Tay Wicks last year after a bad play. And, that's that energy personified right there. Like, it's not about what you just did. Onward and upward, on to the next one, forward direction. This offense, we've talked about it. This offense is there. If we put together a top 10 defense under Jeff Hafley and these new coordinators and staff members, boy, I tell you, watch out for the pack, man.
Yeah.
That's the X factor is this defense for sure.
Yeah. Jordan Love protecting the football and the defense just getting a little bit better, hitting that next notch. We finished 12th in scoring. If I remember correctly, is what we finished on the year. A lot of other statistics we can improve on. If you can go from 12th to, say, 8th, huge difference.
Right.
Probably can win you another game or two, right, Emilio?
Yeah, and that's how the media and everyone outside of, the facility looks at it. We're looking at, can we get from, 15 to 8? Can this be a top 10 defense? Can this be a top 5 offense? Can Jordan Love be a top 5 QB? But I like how Goody said it. We can't let that determine our fate. We can't let that determine how high we go. We can't let that, be the limiter on the engine. So, let this team just grow and grow and grow until, it can't anymore. And that's where I think that, getting all this young talent, letting them all bounce off each other and all that competition, it really is just, it's a ball rolling downhill, man.
Yeah, definitely. Magic in the chat says free agent Frankie Louvu at linebacker would be a great pickup. So there's a name that Magic's got his eyes on. Good stuff. Chris says free agent safety pickup. We're going wide receiver first or second pick. I know this last night. We had to wrap the pot up. We tried to finish on time. We tried to get in a last second mock draft, me and Jake, and we couldn't get it all the way in. But I'll tell you this, man. He took a wide receiver, and I heard about it in the emails. Let me just – So, Jacob, mission accomplished. You stirred the pot. Jake, I'm sorry. Then you got out. That's what he did. Yep. But I'll tell you this, though, man. I won't be surprised. I will not be surprised if it's the best player on the board. And, especially in the second round, Goody loves his second-round wide receivers, right? Don't be surprised if they go and grab one for sure. Let's see. Chewy in the chat says, I'm just now getting a little excited for our defensive possibilities. That's kind of, as I was watching that video, Chewy, I kind of feel the same way, man. It's like, all right, what all is going to come to the table here, right? Yeah. How's this 4-3 going to affect everything? And also another thing that spills over, we talked about briefly a couple pods ago, is carrying those extra linebackers to fit that 4-3. Your special teams is liable to get a little bit of a boost too there, right? Which, special teams hasn't been nothing to write home about, but we fixed the major issues. Obviously, we've got the best kick returner in the game if he does return this year in Keyshawn Nixon. But yeah, I'm excited to see how that all plays out there as far as the linebackers helping special teams. Jay in the chat says, I wonder if Hafley will still be on the sideline during games or up in the booth like Barry. I don't know, man. It's a great question. To me, it really doesn't matter. If I was a coach, I would want to be in the booth. I would want to have that bird's eye view in real time. Anytime I watch a game, guess where I watch the game from? When I'm at Lambeau, I'm up in the box. Yeah. I pay extra to get in the box because I want to see everything. Now, most fans like to be in the bowl where the party's at. I get it. I've been there. I've been probably 6 or 7 times, and it's a blast.
This guy.
Down there raising hell with Lions fans. That's a story for another day. But I love being up there in the box where you can see everything. And if I was a defensive coordinator, that's where I would want to be. I would want to be up there to be able to see exactly what the rotation is on the backside. When you're on the sideline, it's kind of hard. You're depending on your spotters up there to relay that information. And if you can save, 5 to 8 seconds without having to go, hey, what are their safeties doing?
Yeah, without the grabbing the headset. Hey, yep. What? Yeah, absolutely. I got to think, though, the head coach and Jeff Hafley might want to be stalking the sidelines, though. Mm-hmm. And we know he's a DB specialist. He may want to be on that sideline with his guys, but time will tell. I mean, Joe Barry was the same way. He started on the sidelines, and then we got him in the booth. It's all about comfortability, for that coach. So, but I'm with you, though. I would think a DC and an OC are probably best suited in the booth with the bird's eye view for sure.
Yeah. Right. The other thing is, go ahead, Miguel.
I was just going to say, if he's living up to that, teaching and sort of on the fly adjustment mentality, you'd think probably sidelined would be my guess. But, if he's got he brought in his coach from BC, if he has faith in him being up in the box, bam, you know what I'm looking for until these guys figure it out. Let's go. Let's hit the ground running. But, we'll see that going in preseason.
Yeah, that's a great point there for sure, man, for sure. John in the chat says Bortolini is a combine beast. Packers should draft him. He had a great combine. There's no two ways about that, John. You see Emilio throwing up his quarter Italian sign there. You know what I mean? Paul Robertson said that pinky finger's undefeated. AFAM in the house. What's up, AFAM? He said Larry throwing up gang signs with that finger. I love it. Over there on the west side of Green Bay, west side right there. That's more about the, I don't know, man. It looks like a U-turn or something. No. Ron Samble in the chat says pretty good tea drinking finger too. So
yeah, right. Get that pinky up.
Got to honor the pinky, fellas. Got to honor the pinky. No doubt about it. All right, let's do this. Let's kind of talk about as we get ready for free agency, and just for those who are wondering. And I may have this wrong. If I do, you guys correct me. I believe that stuff is going to crank up. The 13th is a new league year beginning, right? So that's when it technically starts. But I think there is a 2-day tampering period, legal tampering period, where teams can start to fly in and meet with these free agents. So it's technically the 11th. So, guys, it's the 4th. We're 7 days away from free agency cranking up. You heard Goody. And I agree with him. I think he is active every year. Just because he doesn't go out and make a big splash, maybe he didn't like the players that were in free agency. Maybe it's different this year. We'll see how it goes. But you'll see some re-signings, restructures start to take place, I would imagine, in the next 5 to 7 days. You'll see some of those fall into place. Hopefully Aaron Jones is one of those. David Bakhtiari kind of feels like probably just going to be a cut. But we'll see, man. Maybe he'll be on the roster. I definitely trust Goody either way. But the big news that dropped today as we get ready for free agency, and the reason I bring this up is because this continues to happen as players are getting cut or franchise tagged, right? Russell Wilson was released today, or it was announced he would be released by the 13th, the start of the new league year. So Tom Pelissero tweeted out, assuming Russell Wilson is designated a post-June 1 cut, the aftermath looks like this for the Broncos. So he may be a post-June 1 cut. So keep that in mind. This is what it would look like. 2024, $39 million cash paid for the league year with a $35.4 million cap hit. And then in 2025, zero cash. So all the cash is off the table, but a $49.6 million cap hit. So if I understand correctly, pre-June 1, those two numbers would be combined together and would accelerate. So you're looking at an $80 million cap penalty, if I understand correctly.
Wow.
If he's cut before June 1st. I think that's what it was. 2026, though, he's completely off the books. And it says a $255.4 million salary cap makes that pill go down a little easier. And, of course, you got to minus the offsets like you mentioned. So the other thing, the part two to this, Albert Breer tweeted out, the cost of the Broncos of Russell Wilson's 2 years, they traded the 9th overall pick, the 40th overall pick, the 145th pick in 2022. Then the 5th pick, the 37th pick in 2023. They traded Drew Lock, Noah Fant, and Shelby Harris, and cash of $124.02 million. Wilson went 11-19 as Denver starter with a 90.8 passer rating. So, man, that's not good business there, bub. That's not good business. And, so the Walton family, listen, they're not missing that money, right? They got wrote off on taxes. They probably showed that they made $18 somehow, some way last year, right? That's just how that works. But nonetheless, man, that's a lot of draft capital, boys. The fact that Sean Payton got that team playing halfway decent toward the end of the year with a quarterback he's not even going to move forward with, it says a lot about Sean Payton. And I'm not a big Sean Payton fan, but it says a lot about what he was able to accomplish. Now, when you talk about other quarterbacks across the league, we looked at this, the projected quarterback extensions this offseason. Yeah, Paul Robertson said one of the worst trades in NFL history. It's got to be up there, Paul, no doubt about it. Projected quarterback extensions this offseason per Spotrac. I call it Spotrac. I've always called it Spotrac. I heard Ryan the other day say Spot Track. It could be that.
Sure about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, as a matter of fact. Tua Tagovailoa expected 4 years, $220 million. Jordan Love, 4 years, $200 million. Jared Goff, 4 years, $180 million. Dak Prescott, 3 years, $180 million.
Yeah, there we go.
Baker Mayfield, 4 years, $120 million. Tim is on the ball tonight, dude.
I would say he got a good night's sleep.
So that's what your quarterbacks that are kind of up for a payday is looking at getting. Now, I wanted to look at anything you guys want to add to that, first of all. And then I've got some Spotrac value charts that we can look at some of the players that got the best value last year across the league. But anything you guys want to add there?
Can we get Jay Love 5-6 years, 250, 275?
Yeah, if you're going to pay that kind of money, bro, you got to, right? You got to go the Joe Burrow route. That way you can spread it out. Go a 4-year extension and tack on 3 voidable years so you got some maneuverability. That's what they did with Aaron toward the end, and you'll be able to kind of shift some stuff around and make that work. Because he will. He's going to be one of those players, man, that I think you're going to be building this team around. And really, when you look at Russell Wilson, whether you agreed with the trade at the time or not, I don't remember anyone personally going, "This is horrible." They thought this was a good move. That shows you how quick things can change, right?
Yeah.
So, just something to kind of keep in mind there. But
and looking at dates, Clayton, I pulled up March 5th. This is prior to 4 p.m. New York time deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players.
So that's got to be in by tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow afternoon.
Good deal. So if you don't see, has Antoine Winfield been hit with the franchise tag yet? I haven't seen that yet.
I don't think so.
Double check that for me if you can, Emilio. I know that today they got an extension done with Mike Evans. That was the other one that might potentially be franchise tagged. So they got that one done at the wire.
Yeah.
Maybe they are going to franchise tag Antoine Winfield. I have a hard time believing they're going to let one of, if not the best safeties in the league walk in free agency, right? And testimonial.
And Mike Evans deserves every penny of that.
I agree. Completely agree.
Sure. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's put up 1,000 yards every year since he's been in the league. I mean, Steady Eddie is Mike Evans for sure. So a lot of respect for that guy.
I heard somebody breaking his career down one day, and I knew he was good. When they broke it down, it was like, damn, this is a Hall of Fame career. Like, This is about as good as you could ask for and being mentioned in the conversation of having a Hall of Fame
and totally under the radar the whole time. It's like you really don't appreciate a guy like Mike Evans till you dig into those numbers and really look at what he's been able to do consistently throughout his career. I believe since 2014 was his rookie year. I mean, just consistent, and available. I mean, the guy's missed a handful of games. Like we say, you can't make the club in the tub, and Mike Evans is a guy that is, 9 out of 10 times he's going on game day. So you got to tip your cap to that guy.
He's got the numbers. He's got the consistency. He's got the Super Bowl ring. He's got the Pro Bowls. Pretty sure he's a Pro Bowl or a Hall of Fame wide receiver. No doubt about it.
I don't see any news on him.
Okay, so that may be one that comes in at the last second here.
All they were talking about is him, probably wanting to reset that market. The top of safety market was that. So Derwin James was 19 million, so he'd be at 20 million.
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah. So, but you never know, or you just slap a tag on him and call it a day.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to hop over to SpoTrack. Hopefully, we don't get bombarded with ads here, but this is look at that. We got a furniture sale going on. Get that in the bag. Sponsor the show. So this is the value rankings for 2023. Okay, and what they do is they talk about snap percentage. They talk about the total value that these guys and their contracts kind of brung to the table. I'm going to make it full screen so you guys can see it a little bit better. We'll zoom in, and we're going to go by positions. We'll start with quarterback. So these are the guys that they said had the best value as far as their contracts. Okay, Brock Purdy at the top of the list. His total value. What is it? Total value score? Is that what it is that they come up with? I'm trying to think of the proper terminology they use. Anyway, his value chart was 96.99. He played 86.6% of the snaps. So he leads the way with a salary of $934,000. That's just, man, if you can hit on a quarterback that late in the draft and then be successful, holy cow. Josh Allen second with Buffalo at $43 million. You played well when you're second in total value with your contract and you're on the books for $43 million, right? CJ Stroud at $9 million. That shows you hit on a young quarterback that even early in the draft there, man. For how CJ Stroud played, and he was an MVP candidate for most of the year, for at least, a good chunk of the year, I should say, to get him for $9 million is really impressive. In fourth, our boy Jordan Love, $13.5 million, 98.66% snap percentage. The total value score was 88.75. So you can see we have the fourth highest value quarterback per dollar there for the amount that he was on the books for. Jordan Love's earning that contract, boys. There's no two ways about it.
And the rest of the league is going.
Exactly right. Running back. Let's check out running back real quick. I don't expect us to be anywhere near the top here, obviously, with everything that's happened. Look, now we're going to get a physical down here, all right, guys? So get your physical in. They know I'm getting old.
You sure about that?
Kyron Williams led the way with the LA Rams. I remember Kyron Williams coming out in the draft, and he dropped on draft boards. Well, I bet many teams are wishing they hadn't dropped him on the draft boards. Raheem Mostert in Miami, another one at a 98.2 score at $2.8 million. But Kyron Williams getting paid $992,000, and it was arguably the best running back in the league last year. Breece Hall at $2.2 million with the Jets. Isaiah Pacheco with Kansas City, still $934,000. It's just amazing. We're going to climb down and see where the Packers are coming in first. It was A.J. Dillon, 23rd. Okay. And his value was only 47.5, but still that was 23rd best in the league amongst running backs at 1.3 million. So I know he had had kind of an off year with the injuries and stuff, but still performed well. Obviously, Aaron Jones is not going to be on this list because he was hurt a large majority of the year. So that's your running backs. Let's look at receiver. I'm eager to see receiver because we had several young receivers that really played well. When you start at the top here, though, CeeDee Lamb with Dallas had a score of 99.7 at a $3.5 million cap hit. Amon-Ra St. Brown at $1 million for a score of 99.3. Detroit, you want to know why that team is playing so well? I mean, you got one of the best young wide receivers in the game, and you got him for pennies on the dollars. That's going to change soon. But Nico Collins from Houston had a really good year, $1.2 million. His score was 98.8. Remember my boy Puka Nacua I talked about coming out of the draft?
Mm-hmm.
$1 million was his cap hit. 89.8% snap count or snap percentage that he took, 97.8 score there. Phenomenal. So the LA Rams, obviously, I'm pretty sure they made the playoffs this year, if I remember correctly. They had, excuse me, the best running back as far as value, and they also had the fourth best value contract as far as wide receivers there with Puka Nacua. Now let's slide on down the list here just a touch. Jaden Reed, 11th place, $1.7 million for the second round pick. Played 51.1% of the snaps. His score was an 85.1. Really cool to see him that high. Second year player coming out. Guys, we got that contract for 3 more years. At least 1 more year before he can hold out and ask for money. Not that he will, but just kind of, again, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a team owner, team executive, you've got to kind of forecast some of the things that could go wrong so you're prepared for those situations. I wouldn't blame him one bit for wanting to get paid. Look at Romeo Dobbs coming in 27th, $1 million for a score of 62.5. He played 80.3% of the snaps, so really solid there. So you see Jaden Reed and Romeo Dobbs making this list for the Green Bay Packers there. It goes all the way down to 76. So you didn't see Dontavian Wicks. I imagine it probably had more to do with the snap count than anything. But kind of cool, right, Tim, seeing two wide receivers for the Packers here in the the top 28.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you're talking about the youngest team in the league. So all signs are pointing to us trending in the right direction, and I really think, I keep repeating myself, but if this defense steps up, look out for Green Bay, man, in 2024. We're coming.
No doubt. And I know you didn't see Christian Watson on here, Emilio, but like you said, he can block, right?
That's the truth. He can block.
I couldn't tell if he actually said that or Tim played it. All right, let's move on to tight end real quick. This is kind of cool. Sam Laporta. Again, Detroit hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown. They hit on Sam Laporta last year. You also could see on the running backs list, Jahmyr Gibbs, they hit on it. So they're knocking the draft out of the park, man. There's no doubt about it. But Sam Laporta at $2.3 million, 99.7 score. Absolutely phenomenal there. Let's slide down and see where Green Bay comes in. Luke Musgrave, 15th at a 2.1 cap hit, $2.1 million. Played 70.8% of the snaps. Even though he was hurt that significant amount of time, played 70.8% of the snaps with a grade of 62.2 as far as the value of his contract. And look, only 3 spots down, Tucker Kraft, $1.3 million for the second round pick. Was he second or third round pick?
Third.
Yeah, Luke Musgrave was second, right? And then, so he played 51.5% of the snaps, obviously filling in for Musgrave and then playing 12 personnel. And his score on his contract was a 54.7. So really, really solid there for the tight ends in Green Bay. I was eager to see if Ben Sims might have creeped up there, but he just probably didn't have a high enough snap count. Let's move. I looked for left tackle, and I don't think I seen Rasheed Walker here. This one surprised me. Maybe I overlooked him. Let's just slide down here as Kroger's gets their free ad in on us here.
Got to.
Go down there and get you some chicken cutlets. You know what I'm saying, Emilio? So Rasheed Walker didn't make the list. That kind of struck me as odd a little bit. Right. I don't know what his value might have been. Maybe they overlooked him too, but nonetheless, Minnesota, they had the best grade there at 98.1 for Christian Darrisaw at left tackle for $3.3 million. So let's move to left guard let's move to right tackle first. Let's go right tackle, see what we look like here. Zach Tom, second on the freaking list, baby.
Take it out.
$1 million. Played 98.2% of the snaps. I'd say the only snaps he missed is when he flopped that one time. Remember when he planked in midair? Got out. Could have been the 96.1 is the score on his contract. I was going to see if maybe they misplaced Rasheed. They didn't. But, man, Zach Tom, guys, Emilio, that's going to be huge moving forward, man. The fact that Zach Tom is getting paid just a little over $1 million and playing that well at right tackle, dude, come on.
Yeah, we're going to have to do something about that. We're going to have to pay the man. We're going to have to figure it out soon because
it's like the lot bill, man. It's on its way.
Yeah. Oh, it's already in the mail. So it's coming. We just got to figure out how to pay
it. Exactly. All right, let's see here. Guard. Let's move on to guard. It looks like they got both left and right guard kind of coupled together. Let's see if the Packers are anywhere here. Look at the LA Rams again, guys. Kevin Dotson, guard, $988,000, a score of 99.1. You see why the the Rams are kind of built, man. They're built for now, but they're also built for the future. Look at their other guard, Coleman Shelton, $2.3 million, 71.2 score, pretty solid there. Let's see if Green Bay pops in here. John Runyon at 32. Wow. Probably more to do with the snap count than anything, right? 86.8%. He did stay healthy. Some Packer fans are going, yeah, he stayed healthy. He was in a lineup. Anyway, 49.8. 49.8% or 49.8 was the grade for a cap hit of only 867,000. Man, I'm gonna miss John Runyon. I hate that it didn't work out. I wish we got a little bit better production. But man, you talking about a stand up, he really did try to carry the G. Man, I love that dude. But here's Elton Jenkins at 56 spot. Not a good grade though, man. 8.06 is the grade. 17 million was the cap hit. Played 80% of the snaps. So I did feel like all year long Elton was a little bit underperformed a touch. But when I talked to Mike Wall about it and asked him, Mike Wall's, no, dude, that dude's a dog. You're good. You're good. I'm eager to see center here. Let's see what Josh Myers did real quick. As we scroll down, how far do we got to go down? Well, first of all, look right here at number 2. Y'all want to break your heart real quick? For those people that are still hanging on to, no, Josh Myers is just as good as Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey is second on the list, $1.3 million for a score of 96.5. 99.3% of the snaps. That dude, again, it just breaks my freaking heart that we took Josh Myers over Creed Humphrey, but you can't hit on all of them. Here's Josh Myers coming in 16th at $1.3 million for a score of 43.07, 99.2%. One thing about Josh Myers you could say is that dude has been healthy, right? He has been available, hasn't he, Tim?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, defensive end. Let's look. And I don't know how these are sorted, if it's by edge or what. We may not have anyone here. It might be our big boys because we were in that 34 front. Let's just kind of slide down real quick, see if anyone makes the list. No one did. So let's move on to defensive tackle. And again, it just kind of shows, all right, where is our money? Where are we saving money and getting a lot of production at, right? Devontae Wyatt coming in 16th here. Looky here, $3.2 million, 49.2% of the snaps. 68.1 grade. Obviously, the run defense has been pretty rough, but man, he's getting after the passer, creating pressure, all that stuff, right? So, Emilio, I think this adds for you right here, man. Hooked on phonics. Look here.
Ooh, there we go.
Ooh, let me write that number down. Let's see. There's TJ Slayton coming in 33rd, $940,000, 56.2% of the snaps for a grade of 44.4. Let's see. Kenny Clark. 44th on the list, guys. 17.5 million, played 71% of the snaps. 32.08 is the grade. So not that good, bub. Could be a lot better, right, for the money that you're eating up in the cap there. Anything you guys want to add so far as we move along here?
Not at least Kenny was in front of Aaron Donald, but that was about it.
Gotcha. All right, outside linebacker. Let's see what we got. Rashawn Gary, 17th, $24 million. 50.9% snap count, right? Or snap percentage is what it says. 44.7 was the value, though. So you need to get more value out of that. Obviously, first year of that big contract. It looks like they may have just averaged this out. This is that average annual look as opposed to just cap hit. I'd say that's what that is. Kingsley and Igbare, though, right behind him, 18th. 975,000, 41.6% of the snaps. 42.6 is kind of the contract grade there. Then you got Preston Smith coming in 26 at 13 million, 65.2% of the snaps, 29.88. Again, when you talk about the sack totals, guys, you got to focus on the pressure rate and how often they're on the field. Obviously, Rashawn Gary coming fresh off of that ACL. You see Preston Smith played 65% of the snaps. Rashawn Gary only 50%. I'd like to think if he was in there another 15%, if he was fully healthy from the ACL, probably would have finished with 13 or 14 sacks would have been my guess. And those people that didn't like the numbers probably wouldn't have had that much of an issue with that. Inside linebacker. Let's see what Quay looks like here. I'm interested to see Quay.
Because he was flying around on that video. I saw him in on his every single tackle in that cut up with Larry and Brian was an aggressive finish by Quay.
Yeah. I hope he puts it together in this 4-3, man. But look who's ahead of Quay. 12th on the list in the entire league. Isaiah McDuffie, 902,000, 46.9% of the snaps, 69.1 is the grade. That's a guy coming back this year. He's going to be competing for that third linebacker spot, ain't he, Tim?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe even that second linebacker spot, depending on how things shape up here as we move forward.
That's a great point.
I've always liked Zay McDuffie, man. That guy's a football player.
He plays the game the right way, man.
Do you think he could? Yep. Do you think he could stay as Mike? Do you think we could put Isaiah as Mike just because he does come downhill, he does fill a gap? But do you think he would be able to run that Mike if we wanted to, put Quay on the weak side or use him more blitzing or something?
It's a great.
I do. I think time will tell though. Throw him into the fire, throw him out there, and let's see what happens. But I think he's worth that chance for sure.
When we talked about Jeff Hafley taking this job, first of all, Jeff Hafley, obviously, I think he coached Isaiah McDuffie 1 year, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when he took the job, what they say? He's immediately going in and watching the tape. He talked about it as opening presser. Yeah, went in and watched the tape. He's looking at these guys, and he's trying to find out who's the Mike, who's the Will, who's the Sam, who's the guy coming off the field on nickel, right? And that's exactly what he's piecing together is the questions we're asking ourselves right now. Can McDuffie play Mike? If he can, and they decide to move on from Devondre Campbell and free up that money sooner rather than later, right? I personally don't think they should do that. I think that they should try to get some money back from Dre. I would like to see Dre on the team with a little bit of a pay cut to the tune of about $2.5 to $3 million. And let these
like
guys
a Preston Smith type of situation.
Bingo, exactly. I would much rather have him and have that depth there. And if you draft a rookie linebacker, maybe it's a Junior Colson or a Peyton Wilson or someone like that. They come in, he wins the job outright. Then you got Dre coming in as kind of that pinch hitter, right? That relief pitcher, if you will. That I really like the idea of that.
The main thing is can we get Quay to the Will or the Sam?
Right.
That's what this scenario is. What we're really talking about. Because if Zay McDuffie can hold the mic and do it consistently, now we free up Quay Walker to be the Will or the Sam.
Right. Then blitz him a little more, use his speed to come, disrupt in the backfield, that sort of aggressive mindset with it, rather than him having to strafe back and forth or try to, get over the D lineman to fill that third hole or whatever.
I've been waiting for that. I've been saying that for a couple of years now since he came into the league, and I wish the Packers would have used him a little more like Dallas used Micah Parsons. And just, move him around and have him pressuring the quarterback. So who knows, though, in this Jeff Hafley defense, we could see it.
Right.
Yeah. So the big question for me is real simple. Like it's a multi-level question, right? Like, are we going to play kind of a traditional 4-3 stack where it's just 4 down linemen and 3 linebackers behind them? Are we going to play an over front where the Will is going to play up on the line of scrimmage a little bit more? Are we going to play an under front where the Sam is going to be on the line a little bit more on the tight end side?
Right, jam them or something.
Yeah, if we play a lot of that with the under, right, and the Sam on the line, then are we going to play spur? Are we going to have the safety come down and play a little spur action, right? Is that going to happen? All these are the questions that we're going to have answers to real quick. And, that might determine where Quay goes, because I think we all agree of all of our linebacker room, if you said there's the one that we want to be the 5th rusher, it's Quay.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're going to play a lot of overlook, meaning the defensive line is going to be shifted to the tight end side slightly, then put him at the Will so he can blitz off the backside. If you're going to play a lot of underlook, right, then put him at the Sam. It might even be fluid, guys. When you go into a week of preparation, you're preparing for a specific offense. Some teams like to run strong side more. Some teams like to run weak side more. When they run weak side more, guess what you end up doing? You end up showing the under front. You've got your 2 defensive tackles shaded to the weak side, right? If they're a team that likes to run power and likes to run strong, then you're going to be shaded to an over front. And you'll probably have, with the over, you might even leave the Will at home in those specific game plans where a team is running power or running strong side of the formation. In that case, leave the Will at home. Don't even put them on the line of scrimmage and bring that spur into the box so you can get 7-8 man box.
Right.
Yep. And we know Quay is athletic enough to, breathe, show a little sugar on that line and then fade back into coverage too. So,
right. And imagine him and Rashawn stacked per side, or him and Preston. I mean,
oh my gosh,
just fold one half of the offensive line down. What I would like to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
You got Devondre Campbell coming in 26 at $10 million, 47.7% of the snaps. Obviously missed time. He played hurt most of the year, a couple bad ankles. That's why I'd like to see him kind of get his shot too. Maybe they adjust the contract and put a bunch of incentives in, right? Where, hey, if you play, X number of snaps and get this many tackles or whatever, then you can make all that money right back. I would be cool with that too.
Sign Jacob up for that. I know that's his go-to every time.
Yeah, right.
On a lot of other teams in the league, Zay McDuffie's probably a starter.
I agree, man. I agree. 25.5 was the grade for Devondre Campbell's contract there. We may not get into free agency too much. We'll continue hitting these. I just want to go through and see where we rank, like I said, in all these. Now we're at cornerback position, all right? Let's kind of climb down here. Look at Bland. He's the one who set the NFL record for pick sixes. His salary was $991,000. His grade was 99.6. He played 91% of the snaps, man. What a year by that dude. Holy cow. All right, let's go down and see where the first Packers player comes into play if they do. Keyshawn Nixon, 39. $4 million, 72.8% of the snaps. And he was pretty much healthy the whole year, guys. That's because we play nickel pretty much that amount of time, 70% of the time. You guys remember me breaking those numbers down with our defensive identity. His grade was a 60.2 on the contract. Then you got to go down to Corey Ballantyne. Remember me talking about everybody was in love with Carrington, and I felt like Corey had a better year. When you went and looked at the statistics, looked at the passer rate, when targeted, all that stuff, Corey graded out a little bit better. He comes in 45th in the league at $1.1 million for 54% of the snaps and a 56.8 grade on the pretty much a grade on the contract there. All right, go on down, and then you're going to come across, I think we have one more, if I remember correctly. Maybe we didn't. Nope, that's it. So Corey Ballantyne, unless I overlooked him there, Corey Ballantyne made the list, and like I said, Keyshawn Nixon made the list. Who didn't make the list, Tim? Jair, right?
Yeah, I know you were going to say that.
Jair didn't make the list. He sounded so defeated. It wasn't a shot at you. I'm just
Things could be a lot worse. I could be a Bears fan.
2024, the Ja is back. That's all I got to say.
Hey, new scheme, new DC. Yeah. Let's go, right? Let's get it cranked up. I'm simply saying we were arguably the hottest team in the league when we, going into that Niners game. And you see we didn't even get good value out of one of our best players. Like, if he shows up this year, we could see them leap from that 12th in scoring to maybe, like we said, 7th or 8th. That would be absolutely awesome. It's gonna come down to him kind of getting back to old form. He's got to be healthy too, right? We got to take that into consideration.
Absolutely. Free safety. You're talking about getting value. Look at Keyshawn. I mean, I feel like we got exactly our dollars worth with Keyshawn Nixon in 2023. So hopefully he didn't clean out his locker for a reason, and that he'll be able to, jump back in there in the facility at 1265, no problems.
Right. Yeah. And it's not like we were easy on Keyshawn the whole season either. Like he had some, there was some hiccups throughout the season we weren't happy with. That's the truth. But being able to still follow through in 70% of the snaps, man. I mean, he's out there a lot. So that's why we saw him, that's why we saw mistakes and we saw all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was he great in the slot? No. Was he a liability in the slot? No. And that's about all we could ask for.
Right.
I agree with that totally. And the value he brings in a return game.
Yep.
So look at the top of the list for free safeties. Antoine Winfield, $1.8 million was his hit there. 97.5% of the snaps. His score for TVS was 99.4. Phenomenal year there. Let's scroll down and see where the first Packer free safety comes into play. Surprise, surprise. There's not one on the list. So let's move on to strong safety. Again, what is our big need this draft, guys, in this free agency? Safety, right? All right, we move on to strong safety. Look at Jonathan Owens. This one surprised me.
Right? Now, there's a guy.
We got to get that soundbite. I got to get that at $1 million, right? 66.6% of the snaps. Stayed healthy pretty much the entire year for the most part. 72.4 grade. This kind of makes you think if you can get him back for around $1 million, might want to get Jonathan Owens back in the building, especially now that you're definitely going to be playing you're not going to be playing late rotation, right? He'll be in the box most likely, playing that, that kind of safety role down there underneath. Savage coming in 24th, $3.1 million, 69% of the snaps, 40.4 grade, not great, but that's kind of how his contract played out. So, that might be our answer right there, fellas.
Yeah,
Let
I
those
think a
two
guy
guys-
like Jo could really eat in a Jeff Hafley scheme. You know,
it feels like it, doesn't it?
yeah,
It does. Yeah. So you could get it. That might be the play there, right? To get those two guys back. Let them test the market. If the market ain't there, which I'm already hearing that Savage's market's going to be hot. So kind of feels like he's probably going to be gone. I would not be surprised if Savage kind of breaks that mold that we talked about. Spotrac kind of guessing what their market value is. I think he may come out a little bit stronger. So all right, let's look at kickers. Let's see how our boy Anders Carlson did. 23rd, $999,000. Right, played 36.6% of the snaps. That's actually 36.6. It looks higher than most of these, doesn't it? There's a couple that he's underneath. So, yeah, utilized a little more than most, it seems like. So, yeah, Anders Carlson, his grade was a 24.2. Listen, when you draft this is the difference, right, between drafting a kicker and going out and signing one in free agency. Say you wanted to sign his brother Daniel Carlson in free agency, you're going to have to spend $4.5 million, right? You get Anders, his brother, for $999,000. Right. That's the thing about drafting a kicker. When you draft one, you get them on a 4-year contract and it's pennies on the dollars because you're typically taking them, 5th, 6th, 7th round. Right. Sometimes they're even undrafted, which you don't get that 4-year deal, but nonetheless, you get kind of the pick of the litter. Young Ho Koo, $4.8 million. That's another good comparison there. Greg Zerline, $2.6 million. So you can see what Goody was thinking there, trying to save a little money in that regard. But there you go with that. So I'm glad we got through that. I wanted to get into free agency a little bit, and we might still do it. But for the most part, I just wanted to kind of talk about the overall value of the contracts and that type of thing. We got Carly in here now. Carly, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, look at that round of applause. All right. We're doing good. I don't know how much you've heard of us or whatever. If you got anything to add, you go right ahead. If not, we'll keep this train rolling here. We're at the 51-minute mark. You got anything?
Well, I don't want to interrupt your guys' flow, but I did have a question about drafting and combine results and stuff like that.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So we know the data shows that statistically, the teams that are the healthiest at the end of the year are the ones that are most likely going to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Staying healthy is a big deal. And so what I'm wondering is, when you're looking at players that are coming out of the combine, coming out of college, are you wanting, is the feeling that guys that had zero injury history are eventually probably going to get injured, and therefore you want to kind of be aware of that, or ones that have already had the injuries and had them repaired and then gone on to have good seasons? Is that what you would more likely go to? Are you afraid of an injury history? How does that, what is your guys' opinions on how they handle those things in the NFL?
That's a really good question, because like you said, if they've had no injuries, it's okay. They came in squeaky clean, right? Well, that kind of the numbers suggest they're going to have an injury. I think you got to go off of, for me personally, if it was my decision, and I could be wrong here, I think I would rather draft a player who's had no injuries, just because it's okay, there's nothing you can do about that moving forward, right? If they get injured, they get injured. If you take a guy who, like Peyton Wilson, for example, I think they said he's had 2 ACLs repaired, which, by the way, if you're a year out of that ACL repair, Emilio, that knee's actually stronger, isn't it? It's actually better.
And that's what the doctors tell you, man. But I'm telling you, it doesn't feel like you're stronger. I keep putting a brace on, and I mean, it worked. It felt like I got faster after I tore my ACL, but I don't know,
mentally though, right?
Yeah, right. Mentally getting past that bind. But if he's already had 2 of them, I don't think it's an issue. I feel like he's past that mental blockade of it stopping him, mentally on the field, and he's at the point where I think he would send it. And if something does happen, it's, hey, I went full tilt. That could be another way of, I guess, looking at it. But yeah, no, that's a tough question. Keep going. Where you were heading with it?
I think you guys hit it on the head, though. I would look at it case by case, player by player basis, and look at the severity of the injury and what type of injury. Obviously, if you got a guy that's turned an ankle or something minor to mid-major, it's less of a concern than a guy coming off of ACL, MCL, PCL, those kind of things. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. We had the infamous Anthony Barr, breaking the collarbone and all of that. And, Aaron's taken a lot of shots since then. And the collarbones are basically, Iron Man bionic. And he probably is better now into his 40s up there. But obviously below the waist, the knees, the ankles, the calf, those things, I think you got to look at it case by case. But I'm with Clayton. I'd rather have a guy with a clean slate coming into the NFL where you're probably going to get banged up and deal with injuries versus a guy that's already, coming off a major rehab going into his rookie season.
Yeah, I feel like, and maybe it's just me being weird, but someone gets hurt and they had an injury history. I would be sitting there mad at myself, like all the signs were there, right? As opposed to, well, he came in with a clean slate. I think it's a good question. What do you think, Carly? How do you feel about it on the surface?
I agree with you guys. I think it really is individual. You have to look at what the injury is, what the circumstances were, if there's that detail around it. I know there's talk that that people at the like in the end of their college career, I got a little one peeking at me around the door, will want to like hide injuries and stuff, which could actually make it worse, once they finally have to let it affect their lives or something like that. But then also I'm wondering, at what point do we get to where they're just doing surgeries preventatively, like reinforcing the collarbones ahead of time for quarterbacks to know that in order to make it so that they won't have those injuries. That could be something that is out there in the future too.
Makes sense. Yeah. Paul Robertson in the chat said it's more than injury history. It's about recovery, diet. I struggle with diet, luck, preparation, genetics, etc. Many variables. Good point, man. Very well said.
I mean, there's a difference between
could look like that though.
Yeah. There's a difference between something like that, like a minor injury, and something major that's reoccurring.
Thank God for that comment. SDM40 saved the day right here, man. Saved the day. SDM40 says it's hard to get past the mental conception that injuries are wear and tear on the body. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, that ACL, man, people say it is a mental battle.
Oh, yeah. No, the worst pain I think I'd ever felt was when you were done laying flat and the first time you stood up or sat up from your surgery and all that blood rush to the knee. I mean, that's – but, like –
My knee.
Thank you, Tim. That's exactly what I was saying. I was trying to tell him that it hurt, okay? But no, honestly, the other thing is, like, if you got someone that's injury-ridden, he either is legitimately injury-ridden or wanted to not work out, ride the pine. And I think that's where, Paul was sort of saying, if you got a dude that's lit up with injuries, maybe he just doesn't want to do the work in practice, or he doesn't want to do, that extra workout to get here, or there. And that's something you would probably want to avoid if he's just, littered with, my shoulder's out for this week, or, my arm, hurt my calf, things like that.
You want a guy that wants to play. I feel like above anything else, any athleticism or anything, the mentality of like a guy that wants to be on the field is ultimately going to pay off way more than any sort of talent, because they're going to put in the work and they're going to do everything they can to be out there.
Like a Luke Musgrave, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Here we go.
And you can see some of that even in just the drills in the combine, right? If they're finishing through the cones, if they're running into the end zone after they finish through the cones, that's where you get that little. You only get so little bit of time to actually be in front of the main eyes of the NFL. You better show up and play. You had all year to put it on the tape.
Yeah.
Let's see that effort that you show up in practice.
I think that's why Clayton likes Rudy Ford so much, because I saw a lot of that, up close and personal at camp and through the preseason and last season, watching him and just the way he goes about his prep. And then, even as something as simple as, one-on-ones at practice or just simple team drills, like Rudy Ford finishing everything, he has one speed, and that's, fifth gear, pedal to the metal, and you got to respect that in a football player for sure.
Yeah, I'm really eager to see which one of these safeties. I think they're bringing at least one, maybe two of these guys back. They'll let them test the market, but I think they'll probably bring one or two back. Will it be Rudy? Will it be Jonathan Owens? Will it be Saab? Will it be? I'm leaning more and more toward it won't be Saab because of the market rumors, but probably be, like I said, either J.O. or Rudy. Or who's the other? There's another one too. Who is it?
Anthony Johnson Jr. is all we got, but
yeah, he's sitting in that room like, guys, it's lonely.
Sitting in that room like, who wants to play football with me, guys?
Yeah. Jim in the chat said he agrees. Yes, avoid players with injuries. No doubt about it. Let's go back a little bit further in the chat. We'll wrap this big bear up. Antonio Universe says, Packers fans dream about a coverage backer who can blitz. Amen, man. Amen. Yep. Bobby Wagner, $4 million. Come to Green Bay and get your ring, my friend. Let's go.
Let's go.
Paul Robertson says, watch the Bears sign Savage. Why you gotta do it, Paul?
I've been saying that.
It's such a Bears move, man, for sure.
Yep.
That's how it works. And then Legless in the chat says, Packers bringing back Savage 1 to 2 year prove it deal. What do you think? Yes or no? I'd be okay with it. Especially if it's a prove it deal, like some kind of incentive lace, top gig. But the problem with it, Legless, is the rumors I'm hearing across the board is he's going to have a pretty rich market. So, I think the market value is set at $5 million according to Spotrac. Now that the rumors are amping up, maybe that jumps to $7-9 million. It's pretty wild to think about. But the thing is, he's been in Green Bay for 5 years. I think we would all agree he's underperformed. But these GMs, the first thing they do when they look at free agency is they go back to their original draft board, right? And they got when I say that, they don't have the board still on the wall, right? Don't take it literal. But they're going to go to their database and go, okay, what kind of grades do we have on all these players? Bring me the list of free agencies. Guys on free agent, hey, you, Slappy, go get me all of our draft scores on all these guys. And I guarantee you there's going to be multiple teams that have first-round talent on Darnell Savage. There's a reason the Packers took him in the first round. So if there's 3 or 4 teams that had a first-round talent, and they look at him going, man, we can get him for $5 million, we can get him for $7 million, and now a little bidding war starts, that might bid the Packers right out of it. I think it's another way that Goody was like, let's let all these guys test free agency. And let's don't look at it through our biased opinion of we like these guys in the draft. Let's look at this whole free agent market in the safety room as a whole as, okay, what's this market really look like, rather than, well, I'd really like to bring our 2 guys back. Because you might find someone better as far as, like we just talked about, the overall value grade on those contracts. You're wanting someone that you're going to kind of knock it out of the park and get your best bang for your buck there. So that might be the other thing about Rudy. They let him test free agency last year, and he got no offers. Came back to the Packers for whatever it was, less than $2 million. If the market isn't there, the value isn't there for the Packers either. They may let him do that again and just, hey, bring back your best offer. If he comes back with 1.6, give him 1.8, maybe a little extra $50,000 signing bonus on top of the normal signing bonus, and wrap it up, call it a day. So we'll see, though. Yeah, exactly. I love it. It's so subtle. You can barely hear it. I love it, though, Tim. Chris Ian says, I hope the Bears sign Savage. Love will light him up. All right, I like it. I'm really eager to see what Love does this year, man. Really eager. Let's see. Last one here. Antonio Universe says, Newbin might have a super pro day. Bishop may have locked in second-round status. The Pack would have a great draft if they land one of those guys. Yeah, Newbin's my guy, man. I would love to see Newbin end up being in Green Bay, but we can see how it plays out there. So, yeah. All right. Anything else? Go around the horn here. Carla, you got anything else at all?
Well, I just wanted to, if I could, answer the number one Packer fans question about, I've heard so many reports of players not doing certain things in the combine. Why work so hard to get to that level, then not participate? I actually thought about that, was thinking about that earlier, a few weeks ago too. And after listening to a bunch of people, it's because people can, if they put on, like these kids put on great tape, they have so many skills, they really show out. But then let's say they know that they're going to go, they're going to score low in the 40-yard dash. They're just not going to do it as fast as somebody else, or they know their vertical jump isn't that great. Why would they go out and do something that they know is going to give them a low score and impact their, their draft status, when by all other tape and everything else, then they should get drafted? Like, I think it was like Puka Nacua had a RAS score of like 5 point something, and he ended up balling out. Like, these kids don't want to they don't want to lower their chances of getting drafted well. It's my understanding. Guys, if there's something else to it, please add to it.
I think they don't want to risk injury either.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good point. Yeah, risking injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you nailed it though, Carly. Don't you, Emilio? Like, I mean, some of these guys are coming in and they're already, like, think about Cam Kinchins. Cam Kinchins was in most people's eyes, maybe not most, a lot of people's eyes, as the best safety in the draft, or at least right there neck and neck. You've seen the 33rd team, right? Mm-hmm. They had him in the same tier as Newbin.
Right.
Newbin didn't go to the pro day. Kinchins did. Kinchins bombed the pro day, and now you're going to see him sink in the draft. Right. If he would have just stayed put, and I know it's easy as fans. We're going, right, Amelia, we're going, oh, you should want to compete. That tells me a lot about you. Come on, guys. It's 2024.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that's
at the end of the day, you're going to be judged on your rookie season. You're going to be judged on reps and snaps on the field. Mm-hmm. And, come week 1, 2, 3, nobody cares about your combine anymore. And if you're in a situation where you're highly recruited, highly sought after as a draft pick, and you could go out there in the combine and hurt your status more than helping it. So I totally understand why a young player might just opt out of that. Maybe do a pro day, maybe go to team workouts and see what happens and go from there, because ultimately you're going to be judged based on your rookie season, not your combine.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Emilio. What were you going to say?
No, Tim said it right there too. So like the only thing I was saying about showing up at the combine and like fighting through the drills is like, hey, if you're going to be a 200, 100, pick, let's see everything you got if you've got nothing to lose. But yeah, if you're Cam Kinchens, if you're top 100, you're probably not going to do it unless you're elite at that category, or that you're going to do semi-decent at that category. If the media's already done the talking for you, why do you need to go out there and try to, God forbid, ruin your stock? You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something they're looking to do. But if the media's already painted a picture for you, just let that ride. That's where I could, see that completely. But if you're, fighting and clawing and scrapping and you want to show out, bam. Or if you're gonna be in the top 100 and you say, dude, I'm the fastest wide receiver, 4.2, like let me run, bam, like let the man run, because you got the whole town talking about it, and you jumped 2 rounds. Right. So maybe you were 110, now you're 30. So
seen a lot of guys struggling for their footing on that turf during the wave drill. I don't care what position group you were in, and
dude, they were sliding everywhere.
Yeah, you see some of that, and you're like, wow, the guy could literally end his season before he even gets drafted.
And forget even sliding. Forget if you're not the one sliding, you seeing guys slide. That's in your head.
Yeah,
that's in your head, man.
Yeah.
All it took was me planting my left. I planted my left foot and I opened my hip to open up right, and my knee just my foot stayed in the ground. My knee moved. All I heard was a pop. So like that's all it takes. Yep. They swivel open their hips and that's it. If it's gonna go, it's gonna go.
Same thing happened.
That's what she said.
Same thing happens. I ain't even gonna say it now. I was gonna say same thing happens to me when I'm reaching for the roast beef in the bottom of the fridge, but Tim will hit me with that pizza. So you go. Yeah. But seriously, like with Kinchens, the dude, if you're playing blackjack, the dude was holding a 19, right? And he said, hit me. And he that's exactly what happened, dude. Now I guarantee you they'll show a strong face, but I promise you, man, his agent's like,
oh no, we suck again.
He's thinking it right now, like this sucks.
Yeah.
This went no worse. But maybe he'll have a pro day. I know we hit the dates. Was Miami on that list? Of course, I'm sure they'll have a pro day regardless. But I'm trying to remember here. I think I got the pro days here. Was Miami on there? Let me drop that comment down for me. I appreciate it. So they're not listed yet, but I'm sure they'll have a pro day. Maybe he'll have an opportunity to make up for that, right?
Mm-hmm. That Big 12 one's in Texas, right? So they're going to have – it's a 4-day event.
Is Miami in the Big 12? Are they in the Big 12?
That's what it's my question is, if you're out of the Big 12 and you're just like, hey, dude, if you're doing a big – can I fly down to Texas and go do that? I guess it's at the Dallas practice facility. So can you just be like, hey, let me get a run over there because I still need to put tape out?
They're having that at the Star? Is that where they're having it?
They're not at the stadium. They said it was at the practice facility.
Gotcha. I'm thinking this. I'm trying to remember exactly what the Star is. I can't remember if the Star is a practice facility or if it's right next to AT&T. The Star is a huge facility that Jerry Jones had built down there that they say is just phenomenal. He's kind of trying to duplicate what Town's doing, that type of thing. But they've got a big field out there that I think they host.
Held at Ford Center at the Star, the headquarters of the practice facility.
If you get a chance, Google the Star. It is, whether you love or hate Jerry Jones. I know Packer fans hate Cowboys fans, but the Star is a really cool setup, man. I think it's fairly close to the baseball stadium there. It's definitely across town from where AT&T is. AT&T is over next to the amusement park, kind of southwest of where the Star sits. It's on up the main highway, but really cool setup, man. Jerry Jones, like I said, whether you love him or hate him and character issues, I got you the whole 9 yards, but that dude loves his football team and he loves putting money into it. There's no doubt about it. So, all right, anything else, guys? We good?
Good.
Hey, man, we covered a lot, dude. Tomorrow morning for Good Morning Lambeau, we'll jump into some free agency. We got the free agent tracker. We'll kind of look at the rankings, what some of the projections are looking at for some of these free agents. We've had several people that have been cut now, so hopefully we'll get the most updated numbers there. We'll look at their free agent rankings on PFF as well. We'll also dive into the PFF lineups of what the Packers roster may or may not look like right now. You know how we did it every week for the game preview? We would do kind of side-by-sides. All right, here's our offense against their defense. We'll just kind of look at the roster from 12 personnel, 11 personnel. We'll obviously mentally deduct the guys that are still in there that we know aren't going to be on the roster. Just gives you a good kind of color chart of, all right, what does the team look like right now? So with that being said, we are out of here. I seen you grinning, Emilio. That probably means something went haywire in the chat. We're going to avoid it, but here we go. So let's just, like I said, give a quick shout out to everybody that was hanging out in the chat. You guys were awesome. If you guys would, I hate to ask, but I'm getting hounded about people are telling me that are helping me with the pod going, man, tell them to hit the like button, Clayton. They don't care. So hit that like button on your way out. That'll help other Packer fans find this podcast, find this channel. We definitely appreciate that. Sometimes we got 150, 200 viewers in here, and we end up with 30 likes because I'm too stubborn to ask. I just hate asking you guys for that stuff. But anyway, thank y'all so much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll see you for Good Morning Lambeau. For those of you listening on the pod, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack, go.
The power sweep. Actually, it's the lead play in our offense.
We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet. Get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. You look at this play where we're trying to get a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.